it is not like school. It's not at all like school. And I just always just knew school. And then once I entered my bachelor's, it was a hard hit.
So this is Markus. He's studying at TUM, the Technical University of Munich, the #1 ranked university in Germany and in Europe. And in this video, he'll give us raw insights into his student life in Germany, tips, and what it's really like to study at a top university.
Right now, I'm studying my master's degree at TUM. It's called Management Technology, which is basically like an industrial engineer. And primarily, I've been focusing on entrepreneurship, so everything about startups. And besides that, on sustainability, mostly in the field of renewable energies. And before that bachelor's, I also did basically the same thing.
So you were studying at TUM, Technical University of Munich, and in Germany, there's this notion that the university is very difficult. It's also the top-ranked university in Germany, but also notoriously difficult. And how has your student life been over your bachelor's and also your master's? Can you give a little more insight on that?
Just for information, I've only studied at TUM, so I cannot compare it to anything else. I can only compare it maybe to my exchange semesters abroad in China and Japan. Regarding student life, first of all, so also including free time and everything, actually quite interesting because I studied at 2 different campuses. I first of all studied in Straubing, which is a super small town compared to Munich at least. And then I study right now for my master's in Munich. So I have like very different experiences from those 2 perspectives. And I would say both of them were just great because student life so far has just been the best time of my life, I think. Mostly because you just meet so many inspiring people. Like the people you meet, the free time that you spend with friends, doing sports, just going outside has just been amazing.
So maybe can you also go a little bit more into detail about the difficulties? So you have your bachelor's and your master's, and TUM is, I think the student life is very fun there. You meet a lot of people, but there's also the workload aspect and also the exams at German universities. So could you please share more details about that?
Yeah, definitely. In the first semester in my bachelor's, I was just overwhelmed. I'll be honest, I just completely messed it up. I was not prepared for my exams. I even failed exams. And it's just it's very different from school. So if you study abroad, maybe it's a bit different at your universities, but it is not like school. It is not at all like school. And I just always just knew school. And then once I entered my bachelor's, it was a hard hit to realize that it's not school anymore. So you have to study for yourself. It's a lot of work, especially in the first semester, because you have to get adjusted to it. And after a while, after you learn, okay, how do I study efficiently? How do I manage my time? What is important to me? How do I prioritize friends and free time and everything? Then it got better over time. But the first semester, second semester as well, was very, very stressful, I would say. But just like with everything else, you probably get adjusted to it after a while.
You got used to it. Interesting.
Yeah.
So the beginning was hard, but once you got over this threshold, it was quite manageable.
Yeah, definitely manageable, very, very manageable. It's always the same. If you study something, in the first 2 semesters, you'll get taught a lot of basics. So this is more of the theoretical background, more dry topics that you ideally don't want to take, but you have to because, all of the electives that you get later on, they will build up on this knowledge. So you have to go through them. And once you've done this, it will get more fun because then you can choose electives and kind of follow your own passions more. I didn't have much contact to people who are older than me, so I didn't know anything about it. I just pushed through the first 2 semesters and luckily it turned out very good. In my first semester, for example, I was lost. I was just following other people, trying to keep up with all of the homework, just putting in lots of hours without proper focus. So focus is one thing, being able to focus, I guess, organizing the time, just being aware of what are the things that you have to do, because I missed many deadlines, for example, because I just didn't have them in my mind. So one tip that I have, what I very much like and what I do basically before every single semester is to create the framework, the ideal week. I don't know if you know it, but it's basically you fill out 1 week. Basically, you have one schedule of a week, and then you'll fill in all of the mandatory courses that you have. You block out all of the times that you are not available to do anything else. And then once you've filled up it looks like, okay, Monday I have 2 classes, Tuesday I have this class, and so on. And then you can plan around when you want to, let's say, do your math homework from Monday. So you'll actually plan in your week on which day you will do the homework of which class. And once I did this, so many problems disappeared. It's insane. It's insane, literally.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what would you say was the single most difficult thing you had to face during your studies?
That might have been my bachelor thesis, because I worked full-time while I wrote the bachelor thesis. So I guess it's not the most common thing. Actually, it shouldn't be, because there was too much workload. I wouldn't recommend it. Still, like, it worked out. But besides that, the most difficult part was definitely the first semester, just the adjustment, because suddenly you don't have homework anymore. You don't have to go to class here in Germany. So that is very, very different from school.
So you have to be very organized and disciplined to study yourself.
Yeah, the university expects you to do your work on your own. So many times you'll just be lost and you have to figure it out for yourself, because you cannot contact the professor every time. Because at least at TUM there are some classes, especially in the first semester, where there are 600 people with you in the same class. So the professors, they don't respond to you. I mean, it makes sense. They don't have time to take care of so many people.
So what do you think about this anonymity aspect? Because you are one of 600 people at the university, and it can feel, I don't know if it feels lonely, but you're just a number and you just have to pass the exam to get to the better stage. So what are your thoughts on that?
It did feel lonely in the first semester. Yeah, definitely. Tips? Find friends in the first week. That's like it's fun. It's a funny thing, but the friends you find in your first week or 2 will most likely be the people that you stick around for the whole semester or even longer.
Yeah.
And also there's a very big difference between Munich and other cities that are small. So in Munich, I felt kind of alone, but that might have also been the case because it was winter. So in the winter, there's generally just less things happening. And in the summer, it got way better. Also in the summer, I moved to a smaller city. And in the smaller cities, it's more like you have smaller communities, smaller families, and it just feels more like one tight community. And here in Munich, you have to be very proactive to find people to just engage in communities. And I wasn't the most extroverted person back then, so it was a bit hard, but still no problems. You'll just adjust to it. You'll find people anyway. Everybody who comes here, everybody needs friends, right? So every single person you meet wants to become friends.
So by default, it's like a good match in the beginning.
Yeah, but within the first 2 weeks, just try to attend all of the bar evenings, go to every single party, just meet a lot of people, and then really stick to those people.
So let's talk about the opposite, the best experience you had at TUM during your university life.
The best experience was probably actually in a smaller town, because this was the first time that I felt very myself. I don't know how else to explain it. In Munich, you have like loads and loads of different opportunities, and the city can feel a bit big, especially for like the young 18-year-old Markus. I'm not the person who likes to go to a lot of bars. I'm not the person who likes to go to like lots of restaurants, and like there's a lot of cultural things. And back then I wasn't interested in it too much. So I really enjoyed the small town, and I had very, very close friends. We went out every single day, went on the river, went kayaking and stand-up paddling, and lots of volleyball playing, lots of outdoor sports, and that's exactly what I needed at that time. So that was probably the most beautiful time. And I still have a lot of friends, like very close friends from back then.
So would you say student life in Munich is different? And what should people expect when they study here?
It is different. I wouldn't say it's better or worse. It just depends on you as a person, I guess. But when you're in Munich, you'll find everything. Like no matter who you are, how you are, what you like, what your preferences are, whatever, you'll find people here. There's communities for everything. There's like nature with the Alps. There's like restaurants and everything, cultural events. Munich is super green, super nice city. They're vibrant. Lots of students are here, and you'll find people for everything that you want, regardless of whether you're into sports or whether you're into quantum computing, or like you'll find everything.
So when it comes to finances, I mean, university is one thing, but also managing your finances as a student, you know, students are known for being broke in the beginning. So how do you personally manage your finances in an expensive city like Munich?
I would say I live very frugal. And one tip I can give to anyone out there: look for scholarships. Scholarships is an overlooked thing. Many people think you have to have the best grades for scholarships, which is not true. Scholarships do consider grades, but they also, but like many people don't just apply. Just try to apply. It's the best hourly wage you'll ever get. And
that's interesting. The best hourly wage you can get.
Yeah, like think about it. If you spend like 4 hours for like applying for a scholarship, and then you'll get a couple of €1,000. I mean,
what's that?
That's like more than €1,000 per hour.
Absolutely amazing.
Just try to apply for scholarships. Yeah.
So applying to scholarships and living frugally.
That's my approach.
Two best tips.
That's my approach.
Managing your finances.
Most people actually here also work part-time. I also work part-time for most of my study life.
But once you do this, it's quite manageable. If you have a part-time income and maybe a scholarship and you live frugally, it's basically enough to survive as a student.
Yeah.
Or live a comfortable life as a student.
I would say so, definitely. Also depends a bit on whether you have to pay tuition fees or not. I don't know if you want to get into that topic.
True.
But at TUM, international students that are not within the EU zone, since recently have to pay tuition fee, which is, in my opinion, very, very much. So it might be more difficult for people from abroad, unless they find very good scholarships and maybe a high-paying job, or maybe a cheap accommodation. No.
Which is very difficult in Munich because accommodation is very scarce and you have to have connections to get in and stuff.
Still, there are a lot of dorms. There are a lot of dorms that will offer accommodation for like 300 or 400 euros. Once you know that you got accepted by university, you can apply to those dorms. So I would definitely say, once you know that you go there, apply for these dorms, because it may take up to 1, 2, 3 semesters until you get it.
Okay.
But it's the cheapest thing you can find, and they also have an amazing community there.
It's a dream to live.
It's a dream.
400 euros in Munich as a student. That will be the best.
Yeah, considering that Munich is an expensive city. Yeah. There are other cities where you can live cheaper than 400 euros per month.
Absolutely. Yeah. So what are your future plans after graduation, after leaving TUM? Because you are at the end of your master's degree.
Yeah, pretty much. I am about to start my master thesis, which means my whole study life will come to an end soon. My plans are honestly not laid out perfectly yet. I don't have an exact plan, which is completely fine. Like, I don't worry about not finding a job. I'll definitely find a job. On LinkedIn, I'll get still, like, even though my profile is not public or something, I still get messages for people wanting to work. So I don't worry too much. I would rather worry whether I find something that I actually love. So I'll rather take, let's say, 2 or 3 months after I finish my degree to do more research on what I actually want, to do more research on what companies are out there that fit my personality, that are just a good fit, and then I'll join this company, hopefully. Probably in the field of like sustainability, some kind of entrepreneurship startup thing. That would be cool.
So would you say when you study at TUM or at any university in Munich, it's quite possible to get a good paying job afterwards, because Munich is a very wealthy city and there are a lot of companies here.
Munich is like a tech world with many different companies. So if you want to stay here, you'll definitely find something. I wouldn't worry about it.
Awesome. If you could go back in time to younger Markus, what would you tell him with the knowledge you have now?
Don't be afraid. Just do it.
Just do it.
Whatever you start, you'll figure it out eventually. And try to be organized. Do some research on how you can be efficient with your time. That's probably one of the most important lessons I learned.
Awesome.